Let's take a listen at this video from Scott Ritter, and then I will make some comments.
um, Facility. It is dug into a mountain, literally dug into a mountain, and you cannot take this out using conventional weapons, um, especially any that Israel has. In order to take this out, you will have to use nuclear weapons. This is why Donald Trump, and again, this is now I'm taking this on a different tangent, but Donald Trump recently made some comments about you want to hit the nuclear. That's the good stuff. That's what you want to do. Understand that when he said that, what is he saying? Because Donald Trump, again, most Americans don't reflect on this. When he was president, he changed America's nuclear posture and the American nuclear employment plan. And he allowed two new categories of weapons to be built, specifically for the purpose of taking out the Firdos underground nuclear facility in Iran. Because either we were going to have to hit Iran with a 700 kiloton weapon or 150 kiloton weapon, which is a huge thing, and the consequences of that you can't even. Or we use what we call a usable nuke. Two weapons were designed. One was a B-60, a variant of the B-61 gravity bomb that we have, and we built a B-61 that is a bunker buster, a penetrator. So it's able to burrow into the ground before it goes off and creates the over compression that can do it. This bomb specifically was designed and built for hitting Iran. And Donald Trump knows this because he's the one that put it into play and made it part of our nuclear employment plan. He's the one that knows that one of the option cards that the president will get when the suitcase is opened up is, to send B-2 bombers equipped with B-61 bombs to strike Firdos. He's the one that put it in place. And so when he says, we got to hit the nuclear, it's the good stuff, he knows what that means. It's a B-61, a B-2 bomber with a B-61 bomb hitting Firdos, probably two bombs because you always go for redundancy, or it's a W-76-2 low-yield nuclear weapon fired off of a Trident submarine that will again come in and hit. Again, designed to do exactly that, give the president options. So here we
Okay,
have.
so one thing that I should point out here is that Donald Trump is not a president for the last almost 40 years now. A lot of things have changed in Iran, especially when it comes to nuclear sites, how to protect them, because they faced, I would say, the gravest threat during the time of Donald Trump when he was the president for their nuclear sites, for the nuclear weapons. I believe that Iran has, and hopefully Iran has developed a system, because they are always working on it 24/7, where these bombs that U.S. has, as Scott Ritter is pointing out, with the B-52, whatever they have, would not be able to hit those nuclear sites in Iran, and if they do, will not be as damaging as it was, 3-4 years ago. This is what I think where things can get very, very dangerous and become very, very escalatory, because if Donald Trump, he wins and he orders a strike on these nuclear sites, and they hit Iran on nuclear sites, and Iran is like, oh my God, why they're hitting our nuclear sites? They should not be touching this. This is a red line. And then in retaliation, we see Iran is using nukes against Israel and blowing up all the military bases of U.S. in the Middle East. You can imagine it would definitely mean World War III. So Donald Trump, being the man he is, like, this guy has some mental issue, I think, very narcissist, very egoistic, as people call him, Don the Con, could actually order a strike on the Israeli nuclear sites, thinking that things are exactly the same as it was 40 years ago when he was president. So having the bombs in his suitcase is not good enough for U.S. to get rid of Iranian nuclear weapons. It is more than that. Things are now a lot more complicated. I have reported on this a few months ago. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, he visited, not Pezeshkian, Agarchi, the foreign minister of Iran, visited Russia, Moscow, just a month ago. And in that meeting, Russia shared with Iran nuclear secrets, quote unquote, nuclear secrets. So things are not the same. Even if even if U.S. thinks that they can bomb Iran and destroy the nuclear sites, they would be successful to an extent. But then when Iran will come out with a much stronger response to those strikes of U.S., which could culminate in the destruction of all the U.S. bases in the Middle East, and also destruction of Israel, then you see we are heading towards World War III. So under Donald Trump, a lot of people say he's not a president of war, but under Donald Trump, the world is a lot less safer.
The President of the United States actively saying to Israel, use nukes against Iran, because he knows that we can't destroy it without nukes. And so Israel would have to use nuclear weapons to destroy it. So he's encouraging Israel to use nuclear weapons against Iran. Iran is aware of this, which is why Iran has come out and said, we have nuclear weapons. Now, they haven't said that straight up, we have nuclear weapons, but I've worked with the Israelis back in the 1990s. I'm familiar with their analytical processes and how they extrapolate things, how they think into it. And I can guarantee you they have analysts right now who are saying the exact same thing. Mr. Prime Minister, Iran has nuclear weapons. And if we continue with this policy, Iran will use these nuclear weapons against us. Our calculations are that 3 to 5, 15 to 20 kiloton devices will eliminate Israel. And as Iran proved in Operation True Promise 2, they can deliver the missiles that will hit any part in Israel they want to, anytime they want to hit it, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. If you attack Iran, Mr. President, we are destroying Israel forever. That's the discussions that are taking place right now. So we are at a very serious moment in world history right now, where Israel is playing stupid games. Benjamin Netanyahu is literally gambling the lives of over 100 million people, because that will be the casualties. I know Israel's 12 million, but when you talk about the damage that will take place, over 100 million people will be killed by a nuclear conflict between Israel and Iran. And and this is what we're talking about, but nobody's talking about it right now. We have a president joking about hitting the nuclear. We have a prime minister who's calling the bluff of the United States, and we know we call the bluff because, again, Biden put some really good stuff on the table. But just yesterday, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, I believe it was yesterday, it might have been this morning, I don't know, I'm getting tired, but she basically said, the United States is supporting 2 resolutions. One calling for the immediate provision of humanitarian aid, the other one calling for a ceasefire, that the United States is blocked. She is blocked. She is on record saying these are horrible resolutions. America could never support this stuff. And suddenly she has to eat crow and read her instructions from the State Department. Why? Because Joe Biden had a 30-minute conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu, reading him the Riot Act, and Netanyahu told him to pound sand. He said, no, we are attacking. And so Biden now is trying to put pressure on Israel, demonstrating that the United States won't have your back. Now Israel has to calculate this, but Netanyahu is desperate right now. He's failing in Gaza. I mean, how many times is Israel going to have to go in and clean out Gaza? I mean, they now have to go into the northern part of Gaza again. Why? Because Hamas hasn't been defeated. They're there. They're resisting. They're killing Israelis. They're firing rockets into Israel. This is over a year into this war.
And I actually mentioned, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did mention this, that there is a lady in Israel who she is crying, she's sobbing, she's screaming literally. Why? Because ITF, Israeli terrorist forces, they have to go back to the Jabalia camp over and over again. I believe right now this is the 4th time they are now back to the camp. Obviously they're causing massacre there. But this northern part of Gaza, it is becoming a graveyard, and it is taking for Israel forever to clean out this whole area, and they're still not able to do so. And we all know they cannot do so. And in the process, they're actually losing a lot of tanks. And I also mentioned about the tanks. They're now running out of the companies who are repairing these tanks. They are now thinking of outsourcing those companies. Means they're going to be asking foreign companies to come in to Israel and repair those tanks. So they're running out of tanks. They're running out of ammunition. They're running out of everything. And at the same time, I personally believe that United States, they are becoming very, very exhausted and sick and tired of providing Israel so much weapon and money and all that. They're pretty much giving them a blank check at this point, but the question is how long they can hold on to it, and I don't think they can do it for too long. So after the election, I'm predicting everything will change. Netanyahu will see his end, and he's already seeing his end, his demise, and the doom of the Zionist state. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you in the next video.